Now, just yesterday, I put the last of the clocks on the motorcycle. These digital clocks that sell for 16 bucks in Pep Boys. Maybe you can even get them online. Real handy to have. And I basically have one on every bike now. And that'll make my, well, just make it more easier for me to get home on time and make Karen happy, which sometimes is a really, not sometimes, it always is a real important thing. Now, I have the gold drying overnight. The gold dried up. I have the pattern. I made a pattern and measured all the stripes, all the distances between the stripes so I could get this, because again, it's got to match the rest of the parts of the bike. I laid a lot of this out with tape. And since we've done this so many times in the past, that this part of the job usually goes relatively quickly. And I know what that shape is going to look like. That was the original shape when we restored the bike. Because remember, this exact motorcycle used to be my race bike in the 70s, and it was painted black and gold. What a coincidence. And once all that's done and you peel out the center tape that's going to show the stripe. So basically what we do is have the tape, it's only covering the parts that are not going to be black. That makes that a very easy thing to do. Press all the tape edges down, take it outside and paint it black. And because we're doing other work, we're doing work for Luciano's mirrors and stuff that are going to be black. And maybe even the wheels on his Ducati, I think he wants to make them black. So I wound up buying a whole quart of black just so we wouldn't be groveling here. Now, this is the adventure of adventures here. This really turned out to be an adventure. This is a bike that Vince is working on. And I'm helping him paint it, except what should be a relatively easy thing to do. And this is Chinese bodywork for a Jordan Suzuki. This color orange is kind of a match to a Harley Davidson, but the cost of this orange paint is $135 a pint. And I'm not sure you wouldn't need 2 pints. Or if you have one problem, you're going to need 2 pints. So what we decided to do, Vince came over and we spent the whole afternoon cleaning parts, sanding, priming, getting things ready. Here's Vince doing his thing. We need to match 2 pieces of the tail section. This is a Suzuki, I think it's designated a DL1000 V-twin superbike. And after a long day of sanding, of course, Vince was treated to one of Karen's home-cooked meals, and we enjoyed. Now, the neat thing about Vince is Karen and Vince hit it off perfectly. They both do artwork. They're both involved in painting and oil painting, so I have a feeling we're going to see more and more of Vince's $135 paint in the future. But anyway, the way it played out is I called Dave Midgley up and to see if Dave Midgley, one of my long-time friends and associates, he had some from the original Candy Apple company that is now belly up. He bought the last 4 quarts of toner so we can make our own paint, but we don't know if it's going to match. It's going to be more of an adventure than dealing with I hate to even say it, the Tim's Gold. So what I have is 2 gold adventures going on at the same time in the shop. And for the next few days, I'll have a lot of anxiety about. See, I have to sand each one of the coats, and it's really a labor-intensive thing to do this because this tank has a lot of Bondo on it, a lot of bad spots, and they've all got to be addressed right now. And you can see here, even I sanded right down through the gold. I was like, that spot was just not laying out flat. And you never know. It's whenever you're dealing with gold, again, that's the mystery. And we're going to find out with Vince's because we haven't done it yet. Vince went away on a thing. He's on a sailboat, I think is what he said. And he's not going to be back for a few days, so maybe the time he gets back, we'll we'll know more about that other paint. But right now we wanted to get this squared away. So I know I got a nice fresh quart of black to work with. And it's always nice, of course, if you're using up nice fresh material. And it kind of stacks the deck in your favor that you're not going to turn this into a nightmare thing too. Now the Ducati mirrors, we used up all nice fresh black paint on it and nice everything. This set of mirrors, I know they'll be on eBay. Luciano will sell them on eBay for $600 here, but they really did come out nice. This is going to dress up his bike just beautifully, just really nice. That's what the colors look like when they're block sanded out. And you see this molding ridge? This is really bullshit, because I worked in a molding shop. What am I talking about? I was a partner in a molding shop, and this is bullshit. That's just shitty molding, is what that is. But it's made in Italy, so I can't hate it because I like pizza pie. And this really turned out nice. Luciano doesn't know how many hours I put into this, but I'm happy with it. And just when I thought things couldn't get crazier in the shop, Tim comes over. And he's going to be leaving for Nova Scotia in 3 days. And one of his fork seals is leaking so much oil that he made the decision to get fork seals, take a day off work, and put them in. And I was impressed. He pulled the whole thing apart by himself. I mean, he used my tools. God bless him. I'm happy for him. I think he's still got to get a chain too, but I showed him Vince's project. We won't be able to work on that till next week. Showed him Ray's project. We're going to be working on that while Tim is out there doing his fork seals. And this stuff just turns into a labor of love. There's just no way you can do this any way you want. It just never goes as quick and smooth as you wish it would. One good tip anytime you have any masking tape on fresh paint, use a hairdryer to warm the tape. It makes it release with pulling, less chance of it pulling up paint. That's an old model airplane trick. Here we got all the tape up. And I think all the body work that I redid and all the repriming and block sanding really came out as, well, as good as I would ever hope. And I hope, the only two possibilities now is we're going to have to re-gold. Actually, on the things like the fender net, I could just backmask the gold, shoot it, and put another coat of clear on. I wouldn't have to respray the black, so. But this bike, because it's my original bike, and it stayed in our family, it stayed with Ray and with Tim, this to me is a part of my life as well as Tim's life. And everybody around, he used it as a drag bike. It has a wheelie bar. It's one of the things we always enjoy. He's got brand new Sudco carburetors on it. Anyway, what I was doing was bouncing from working on all of the projects, going out to give Tim a hand with some of these things, and some of the things are a lot easier to do when you're two people. He was using the bike lift. And then, if things couldn't get more chaotic, Miles comes over for a visit. And of course, everything stops when Miles gets here. And we have to go watch some, look at that face. We have to go down and watch some Miles videos on a computer. And then while he was taking a little snooze, Tim had the rest of the fork taken apart. He had made a special tool to pull the forks apart, which is very handy because these are the same forks that are on the track bike if I have to replace the seals. And we were wondering, getting this bolt out was really in there solid. We had to do it old school with putting a big wrench on a big Allen wrench, and we got it off though. And then it was time when the baby wakes up, of course it's time to take him to the park. You never want to miss a trip to the park. And he loves the swings, loves everything. It breaks up a nice work day when I can spend some time with him while paint's drying. Now, there was a lot of pitting on the fork legs, and I showed Tim the shoe shine method of getting off the pits that I've used with some success. A little labor intensive, but it looks like, well, we're going to find out when he gets back from Canada if there's any oil left in the forks. And here's the Ninja with no forks. I know Tim will be really wanting to look at this. Luciano's mirrors were getting ready for the last coat of clear here. And boy, when that last coat of clear goes on, do they look beautiful. I always like to wet sand the whole part with 2000 grit and put that last coat of clear on with a little bit of thinner in the clear, and it looks like a mirror. I mean, look at the finish on that. That is not the finish you get when you buy a Ducati. Trust me. Trust me. And here's what that tank looked like when I put the first coat of clear on. This is going to get 3 coats of clear, but didn't look bad considering it didn't look so good a couple days ago. And I know Ray will appreciate it, but this bike, Ray and I have a saying that this bike will be in our family forever, I hope. And it's, you know, it's already winning show bike trophies. I think he said they won some drag races with it, but I'm not sure. They have a drag strip near their house where I guess in fact, he sent me some video of the drag racing. But I'm not a drag race guy anymore, so to me, I just like to see a beautiful bike. There's just no substitute for a nice looking bike. And there's no substitute for when you get the first. Now, I told Tim this is true. The first fork leg took 3 hours. And I said the second one's going to take half of that. And it took half of that. So he knows I've screwed one of these up already. Now, we still got to put a chain on Tim's bike. He hasn't gotten the chain yet, so I don't know when or he's going to go to Canada with a wing and a prayer and a chain with 40,000 miles on it or whatever. But every time I walk by, this is the second coat of clear drying up, and I thought, wow, that tank is going to look nice. Ray, eat your heart out, baby. And Ray and I have been friends, my God, I can't even remember, since the 70s. Ray, for anybody who maybe doesn't know, was one of Amar's, I guess, regular, and he still looks at the old Amar website. He's supposed to send me some links. And we used to go to Bridgehampton together, and I don't know what the other tracks, Loudon and the one in Connecticut. And he just was always, we water skied together, and oh my God, so much fun. Anyway, here he is getting his bike back together one piece at a time. And at the end of the day, now I was very impressed at the end of the day that the baby was behaving. Actually, you don't see it in this picture, but at the end of the day, he was having a bad day, a bad hair day, and he gave Karen a hard time. And so I wasn't able to see Tim for a while, but when I went back in the garage, I looked and he had it done. He really impressed me. The guy is okay. I don't care what Luciano says about him. I don't care what Jose says about him. Tim, you're heading off. The next time we see you, my boy, you'll either be in the middle of Canada without a chain, or if you get the chain in the next day or so, we can snap it on. Anyway, thought you'd enjoy sharing those 2 adventures with us.